I'm new to the course.
I'm
You're
just new.
okay. The person who said she's new, do you have a product management job or are you just taking courses at the moment?
I'm just taking courses at the moment.
Okay, all right. Is there any other person on the call who has a product management job? Is there anybody? Anybody? No. All right. So I'm going to believe that everybody here is probably just taking product management courses, joining webinars, and maybe reading books and articles to understand. Um.
Um,
Okay. Who's that?
Chidima.
Hi,
So
Chidinma.
I'm looking into transitioning. Like I've not started taking a course on product management yet because I've not made my decision yet. That is why I joined this
This
webinar.
webinar. Oh, okay. What do you currently do, Chidinma?
Okay, into real estate currently, but I want to transition into tech. So I'm just weighing my options between product design and product
Management.
management.
Okay.
Yes.
That's an interesting one. Thank you for being a part of this, Chidinma. So I'm going to
Welcome.
do my best to make this as succinct as possible, to make it as simple as possible, so that we can all get value from this. Tosin or Elizabeth, is there a need to record this session? I don't know. Are sessions usually recorded?
Yeah, yes. It's
Okay.
just for those that for one reason or the other they missed the session so that they can always still get the value.
Okay. So I want to believe this session is being recorded at the moment.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Okay, so let's get into the business of the day. How to land your first product management role. All right. So I went about and I asked 5 product managers how they landed their first product management role. And it will interest you to know that all 5 of them got their first role in different ways. All 5 of them. So at the end of the day, my conclusion is that there is no exact one way to landing a product management role. So in case there's anybody somewhere telling you, oh, you have to do this, or this is exactly how to land your first product management role, that's a big lie. Okay? There is no exact one way to landing your first product management role. And what this does is that it takes the limit off. You can think outside of the box. It means that there is no box, there are no limits. It can happen anywhere, it can happen anyhow. Just be open to all of the possibilities. Are we together?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as we proceed, I want us to keep 2 things in mind. There is no clear cut educational path to product management. So, like I said, I asked 5 product managers, how did you land your first product management role? And none of them had the exact same way with the other person. They all landed their roles differently. And interesting enough, they all studied different things. So there is no clear cut educational path. For instance, for maybe engineers, you find out that a lot of engineers maybe studied computer engineering in school or they studied computer science. A lot of engineers, you find out that they actually have like an engineering background from the university. But for product management, it's quite different because the the role is not exactly new, but product management as a curriculum is still new to a lot of schools. So there are not a lot of schools out there who offer product management courses. I don't think there's any university in Nigeria at the moment who does that. There's none. You just find independent bodies or independent organizations like maybe Jupiter and some other guys out there who maybe offer certifications and stuff like that. But there is no clear-cut educational path. You speak to one product manager and you realize that, oh, this person studied English. For instance, I studied English and literary studies. And if anybody told me when I was in year 1 or year 2 that I would be a product manager, my question would be, what is product management? Because I had no idea what product management was until 2020. This is 2023. I had no idea what it was until 2020. Or was it 2019? I think it was 2019. I had no idea what it was. So there is no clear-cut path. Some of my product management friends studied marketing, some of them studied linguistics, some of them studied microbiology, like all like different shades of educational backgrounds. That's what you find in the mix for product managers. So there is no clear-cut educational path, and there's also no clear-cut career path. You find that a lot of product managers are transitioning from one background to another. For instance, myself, I came from a marketing background. So yes, I studied English, but somewhere along the line in the university, I decided that I wanted to do marketing. And then I started to take marketing courses, and I started to apply for marketing roles. After graduating, I was a marketing specialist for a while with Workforce Group. And it was while I was in that role that I discovered what product management was. And then I transitioned from being a marketing person to being a product manager. So you also find out that there's no clear-cut career path. Some product managers used to be engineers. I mean, I've heard stories of people with engineering background, people who have been engineers for years. Maybe the person is a back-end developer. They've been engineers for years, and then you just find out somewhere along the line that they are transitioning into product. Some people used to be product designers. Some used to be customer support or product support people. It's just a very weird mix. So why I'm saying all of this is so that you do not blame your background, or you do not blame your educational background or your career you do not blame it if it's taking you a while to actually land a product role. So don't think that, it's because I studied Yoruba, that's why I'm not landing my first product role on time. Don't think, it's because I studied mathematics. No. So product managers come from all walks of life. They come from various educational backgrounds. They have different career backgrounds. And I think it's just an interesting mix. It's very interesting that you can do something as beautiful as product management with a very diverse background and stuff like that. So yeah, so please keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. If you forget anything I say today, please do not forget this, that there is no clear-cut educational path, there is no clear-cut career path, so that nobody tells you out there that it is impossible. So you don't go out there tomorrow and you're talking to somebody and the person says, you must have coding experience, or you must have engineering experience to be a product manager. It is not true. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
Yes, yeah.
Very much. Thank you. So now let's get right into the major reason why we're here: landing your first product role. It can be very difficult. I'm going to be very honest with you. It can be difficult to land your product role, as any other role might be difficult to land. The same way it will be difficult to land a marketing role, it will be difficult to maybe land an engineering role. It's the same way it could be difficult to land a product management role. Also, I think it's also a little more difficult because there are not product is still, especially in Nigeria, product is really just opening up. Product management space is really just opening up in Nigeria. So it feels like there is not a lot of it feels like there are not a lot of roles, or there are not a lot of vacancies to go around. But then when you actually sit down to think about it, you realize that there are not a lot of hands actually. There are not a lot of qualified hands to fill those roles that we have. So it's a very funny mix. The roles are not enough, and then even the roles that are not enough, there are not a lot of people who are qualified to take on that role and actually do valuable product work and stuff like that. So it can be difficult, but you're not alone. You're not alone. There are organizations out there to help you. For instance, Jupiter Academy, they put together this webinar is to ease your journey and make it less difficult for you. So like I said earlier, there's no clear-cut career path, there's no educational path, and also there is no specific time band to landing your first role. Don't let anybody tell you that, it will take you 1 year, or it will take you 2 years, or it will take you 3, or it will take you 6, or it will take you 5 months. There is no specific time band. It took me 6 months to land my first product management role. I'm going to tell you guys how I landed mine at the end of the day, but I just want you to know, remember that it will take any amount of time. I don't know. It might take a week, it might take 2 months, it might take 3 months, it might take a year, it might take 2 years. But just be hopeful and keep your head up while you are striving to land that role. So let's move on. So now that it feels like there are like a lot of uncertainties with product management, there's no clear-cut career path, there's no clear-cut educational path, there's no clear-cut specific time band to landing your role. So in the midst of all of these uncertainties, how then do you land your first product management role? We cannot control uncertainties, but there are some things that are within your control. I feel like that's a perspective to life that a lot of us need to have. When things are out of your control, just let them be. But whatever is within your control, put your heart and your mind into it and do your best while at it. So now, regardless of all of the uncertainties, there are certain things that you can do. You have to play your part. So regardless and amidst of your uncertainties, how then do you land your first product management role? So I have highlighted certain routes to landing your first product role, and we're going to be going into them. Please, if you have questions, maybe you can leave them in the chat, and Tosin can maybe take note of them, and then we can go over them when I'm done with the slide. In as much as I would like for questions to come in while I'm speaking, that they might be a little distracting and it might cause us to like maybe digress from what I have prepared. So please, if you have questions, leave them in the chat box. Just please take note of them and then we can treat them when we're done. So yeah, routes to landing your first product management role. So one of the first ways that you can land your first product management role is via internships. I'm sure that we're all familiar with the concept of internships. Some courses have like specified periods in the course of study where you have to go and intern at a particular place, and just to like have like real life experiences and stuff like that. But that's not the case for product management, because in the first place there's no university or college in Nigeria currently offering product management as a course. So there's no room for internships designed by schools in the first place. But then organizations usually make provisions for internships. I mean, I have stumbled on a lot of internship opportunities by financial technology companies, by even traditional banks and stuff like that. So internships are a great way to land a product management role. Keep your eyes open on LinkedIn, especially keep your eyes open on Twitter. Opportunities are always there. When you find an opportunity to intern, please grab it. Grab the bull by the horn. The thing about internship is that it allows you to learn. You're learning in real time, actually, because first you are being mentored by proper product leaders in that company, and at the same time you're learning, so you can make mistakes, you can learn on the job, and then have people hold you because you are interning, and then you're given much more grace compared to if it was maybe an entry level role and then stuff is like real actual work is expected of you. That's not the case in internship. Everybody knows that you actually do not know a lot of things about the field and you are really just there to learn. So internships are a great way to land your first product role. So when you get an internship role at a company or at a product company, put in your best, put in your heart, because at the end of the day, the goal is not just to intern. The goal is to actually become a product owner who can be trusted to deliver a valuable product at the end of the day. So when you're done with your internship, it makes sense that the organization realizes that okay, you have grown in that period of internship, and then they maybe want to retain you as an associate PM or as a junior PM or as a junior product owner and stuff like that. So watch out for internships. They are a very good way, a very fast way to land product roles. And also you can actually shoot your shot at organizations for internship, especially startups are always looking for people to do the work for them. I don't know if any of us has worked at a startup, but it's difficult to work at a startup because you actually have to put in the work. Unlike large corporations or large organizations where there are a lot of team members, it's easy to hide behind what somebody else is doing and stuff. At a startup, the team is lean and everybody's value can be seen. It's glaring. If you're not doing the work, you're not doing the work. Everybody knows that you're not doing the work. And then if you're doing the work, everybody can also see that you're doing the work. So shoot your shot at startups. Most times they always need hands. Go on LinkedIn, maybe make a short list of companies that you'd like to work for. Send mails to their maybe HR, and ask for the opportunity to intern. But also, when you are doing stuff like this, it's important that you are not just selling yourself as coming to learn. You have to also show them that you have some value to add to the organization. Okay, are we clear on that? I need
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so another way to land your first product management role is through internal transition. Okay, so what do I mean by internal transition? So a lot of times, like I said earlier, product managers come from diverse backgrounds. Some of them you realize maybe the person was a marketing specialist like myself. If I were okay, in fact, I feel like internal transition is what my story was like. So let me give you guys the story about how I landed my first product management role. So I was a marketing specialist at Workforce Group at the time. I had taken the Product Dive course. Product Dive is an organization that offers management certifications and trainings. So I had taken a course with them and we were done with the course. But sometime in the course of the program, we were asked to send in our CVs because they were putting together a pool, and they were doing that because organizations usually reached out to them to, ask for a pool of candidates whenever they wanted to hire. So unknown to me, the organization I worked with at the time, Workforce Group, was hiring. So we had Workforce Group, and then they had a sister company called Zone Tech Park at the time. Zone Tech Park was hiring for the role of a product manager, and I was not even aware that that the sister company was hiring at the time. But unknown to me, Zone Tech Park had reached out to I'd reached out to Product Dive and said, "Oh, we're hiring for the role of a product manager. Can you please share a pool of candidates with us?" Unfortunately for me, my resume happened to be in the pool of resume that Product Dive sent to Zone Tech Park. So one Friday afternoon, I was sitting in my house and I get a call from from my HR person at Workforce Group. So remember I said Workforce Group had a sister company, Zone Tech Park. We shared the same HR department. So the HR for Workforce Group was the same as the HR for Zone Tech Park. So I got a call from my HR person saying, "Hi, Temitope, you have an interview with us for so and so date." And I'm like, "I don't understand. What do you mean interview?" So that person was kind of like a friend. So I'm like, "Oh, Esther, what do you mean interview? Are you playing with me? You are the HR of where I currently work. What do you mean I have an interview with you?" And then she says, "Oh, Zone Tech Park is hiring. We reached out to Product Dive. They sent in your CV. And then they felt that it only made sense that they would give me much more consideration because I was already in the system." Do you see what's happening? So I did the interview and I got the role. So it felt more like an internal transition, and it was easy. It was easy to move me from the marketing department to the product department. It was more efficient for the organization. It was more cost friendly for them because when you're hiring new talent, you're spending money and stuff like that. But it was more cost efficient for them. It was also good for me because I needed the experience, and it basically came to me on the platter of gold. So now, how do you? Not everybody would be lucky to. What's the word now? Yeah, not everybody will be lucky to have a story like mine. So how then do you work around internal transitions? So if you are in, for instance, maybe the marketing department or the HR department and you want to move into product management, it only makes sense that you familiarize yourself with the product team at wherever you work. Reach out to them. Spend time with them, ask them questions, let the product team see that you are interested in doing what they do. Do you get? Also show that you have value to offer. Help them out with tasks. In fact, if there's a product manager on ground, become friends with that product manager. Basically just shadow the person. Let the person see that, oh, you're interested in what they do. And if they actually need an extra hand, you will be top of mind because you have shown that you have value to offer and that you are interested. And like I said, internal transitions are always more efficient for organizations and both the the employee. So any organization would definitely they would definitely want somebody who is already in the system over somebody who is new, that then they will have to onboard, and then they'll have to wait for the person to settle in and get familiar with the culture and stuff like that. So internal transitions is one of the ways to learn your first product management role. So if you're at an organization that has a product team, you should be thinking about this. In fact, this is one of the easiest ways. It's like a cheat code. You should be thinking about it. Get familiar with the product team, show that you have value to offer, speak to your HR person, and you never can tell. You might just be on your way to landing your first product management role. The next way to land a product management role is to embark on a personal project. So sometimes you might have the opportunity for internships. You also might not have the opportunity for internal transition. So how then do you build your product muscle? How do you, because sometimes when you go for interviews for maybe a PM role, you're asked questions like, oh, so what have you done before? And you have to highlight your product experience. How then do you defend yourself, if you actually do not have product experience? One of the ways to do so is to embark on a personal project. Find an idea that fascinates you and build it out with the help of your friends or your colleagues who are interested. That way you can bank on the experience that you get when doing all of this, and then you can document your journey as well. So this is also something that I did, although this did not help in landing it did not help me in landing my PM role, but it was something I did during the product dive course. I was we were all supposed to come up with an idea, conceptualize, and actually like build it out into a product, build a prototype, do like designs, and create a go-to-market strategy, do your user persona, and all of those things. So I had an idea, I conceptualized it, I had designs, I had wireframes, I had user personas, I had a go-to-market strategy, and at some point I became a little more ambitious, and I spoke to some of my friends and I said, come on, see, guys, let's build this. And we actually started to work on it, but it was more like a side project. And somewhere along the line, all of that zeal died, because I had a lot on my plate, and then we just had to just wrap it up and just keep it in the side burner for a while. But that's a great way as well to land a product management role. Find something you are interested in and build. Find something you're interested in and build. You gain a lot more experience than you might even have at an internship, because why? You are doing all of the dirty work by yourself. You're doing all of the grunt work by yourself. If you're interning somewhere, you have mentors and people to guide you. But when you're building your product yourself, your experience is solely your experience. You are making mistakes and you are learning from your mistakes. Like I said, you are doing the dirty work by yourself, and you grow faster that way. So one of the ways to land a PM role is by embarking on a personal project. And then when you find yourself in an interview, you can tell them, oh, I have done this so and so and so in the past, even though I don't have like a proper product management role. I and my friends, we built so and so and so, or we did so and so and so. It shows that you are serious, and it also shows your interviewer or whoever it is that you're talking to that you actually want this, you want it badly, and that you will do whatever it takes to get it. So keep in mind, one of the ways to land your first product management role is to embark on a side project. And it's very beautiful how side projects can evolve. You find out a lot of times that some of the organizations, some of the financial technology companies we have around, or some of the startups we have around, they actually started because a friend somewhere said, oh, I want to do this, and another friend said, oh, I'm interested, let's do this together. And before you know it, voila, a company is born. You're learning along the way, you are growing, you are making mistakes, but you are growing while at it. So that's one of the routes to consider to landing your first product management role. Another route is associate and entry level roles. To be very honest, I'm not going to say much about this because there are not a lot of associate roles out there for product management. There are also not a lot of entry level roles. Most times you find out that organizations are looking for senior product managers because why? They want to drive value. They want somebody who has experience. They want somebody who can deliver value as quickly as possible. Do you get? So, but there are also associate roles out there. They're hard to come by, but if you do your research, if you spend time on LinkedIn, you come by them. If you spend time on Twitter, sometimes you find some of them. So that's also one of the ways to land a product role. Associate programs, entry level roles. For instance, there's this Google Associate Product Manager program. I think they do it like it happens every year, but it's Google, so you can imagine the competition. But of course, you can give it a shot. There's also another associate program. I think that's by Atlassian, and these guys hold Trello and Jira and stuff like that. So that's another way to land a product management role. So please be on the lookout for all of those. Another way to land in a product management role is by getting involved in product communities. One thing that I really love about product managers for product management in Nigeria especially is because there are a lot of thriving communities out there. And like I said in this slide, these communities are like a literal gold mine. They are a literal gold mine. If you put your heart into it, and if you're committed to being a faithful member of a community, you can get a lot from these communities. For instance, the Product Life community is how I got my job. So imagine if I was not a part of that community. There's every possibility that I would have had no idea. In fact, because I had no idea, I'd have no idea that my organization then was recruiting and stuff like that. So find communities, be an active member, network intelligently, apply for opportunities when they are posted, because these communities usually post what's the word? They usually post opportunities. They do that. So please find these communities. Examples out there are, I listed some here. There's Product Dive, there's People in Product, there's Treford Africa. So find them, go on Google and search product communities in Nigeria, product communities in US, wherever it is that you are. There are product communities everywhere. And like I said, they are a literal gold mine. They will help you. The journey will be faster. The journey will be easier. For instance, one of the product communities I belong to, not only do they post product opportunities, there's also the avenue for you to ask questions. For instance, you have an interview, a product interview, you can ask in the community, oh, please, so and so is happening. Please, I have this question. Who can put me through? You have people who would volunteer to be a part of your mock interview to help you prepare for the interviews you have. When you have interview questions, there are people who are always ready, or assessments, and people who are always ready to help you break it down. So please don't miss out on all the benefits that comes with being a part of a product community. Are we together? Please confirm if we're together, and if I'm not talking to myself.
Yes, we're together.
Yes, we are together.
Okay. Thank you. And the last way that I highlighted here is cold mailing. I think I already touched on this a little. When I spoke about interviews. So what is cold mailing? Is you basically just reaching out of the blues to an organization or to a person and offering your services. So find an organization that you'd love to work with. Do your research on them. Find out areas where they are doing great, and also find out areas where they might need improvement. Build a strong case, and then reach out to a decision maker there. Like I said in my slide, it could be the chief executive officer, or it could be the chief product officer, or the chief technology officer. Reach out to them with the case that you have built and say, oh, okay, this is what I think you guys are doing well. This is what I think you guys can do better. And I think I can help you guys achieve this. One of my friends got his job that way. He reached out to, he did like a proper research on the company. found out the areas where they were thriving, and found out areas where they could actually be better, and then suggested how they could be better, and then sent a message to the MD CEO. And the man was very, very impressed with the case that he had built and invited him for a conversation, and voila, he got the job. So that's also one way to land a product management role. Reach out to people, find organizations you want to work with, find out what they are doing, find out how they can be better, sell your points across to whoever it is you are talking to, and you might just be on your way to landing, you know, to landing your first product management role. One tool that would help you do this well is LinkedIn. There are myriads of companies on LinkedIn who are doing interesting things. So just go on LinkedIn and scroll through and find companies who are doing things that interest you, or even Twitter. Find companies who are doing things that interest you and make a case for yourself. And you never can tell, you might just have your foot in. So that's also one way to land your first product management role. So I have also added to the conversation what to do while you're preparing for your first product management role. Please give me a second. Okay, so what to do while preparing to land your first product management role? What do you do? How do you prepare? What are some of the things that you can do? There are a lot of things that you can do when you are preparing to land your first product management role, but I've just listed like a few things here, and then we'll just move on. So the first thing is to ensure that your resume is up to date. Oh my God, I can speak about this for 24 hours. Make sure your resume is up to date and is tailored to highlight your product skills. I have been privileged to sit in interviews, and I have seen resumes and CVs that have left me flabbergasted. Like, I read these CVs, I read these resumes, and all that's running through my mind is, did this person go to school? Or did this person read this thing before sending it? So I feel like a lot of people are very, very nonchalant about their CVs and about their resumes. And that should not be you as a product manager. If you're going to land that job, your resume must be up to date. It must be well written. Ensure that you are not the only one who has seen your resume before. You have friends, you have mentors. Send it to them and tell them to review. There's every possibility that because you have read that resume over and over and over again, you're not seeing some of the blunders that you've made. But when you send it to a second eye or a third eye, they can highlight things that could be better. So ensure that your resume is up to date, ensure that it is written well, ensure that it is not too long. Oh my God, nobody wants to know about the experience you had when you were in primary 5. It is not necessary. Some information are not supposed to be on your resume. Nobody wants to know what local government area you come from. Nobody wants to know the name of your primary school, for goodness sake. Take it out. Nobody wants to know your age. A lot of times, take it out. It's not necessary information. They are very unnecessary information, and they're just taking up space that you could have used to write other things that would better sell you to whoever it is you are talking to. So ensure your resume is well written. If you have to, speak to people who revamp CVs. There are a lot of organizations and individuals out there who offer CV revamp services. I have friends who do it. I can plug it to them. So reach out to somebody to look at your resume again. And if you're somebody who does not have product experience, for instance, you're moving from marketing to product, how do you convince whoever it is that you are talking to that, okay, I can be a product manager even though I do not have the experience? You have to highlight your transferable skills. There are certain skills, certain soft skills that are transferable regardless of whatever background you're coming from. Communication, for instance, is an important skill. Whether you are a marketer, whether you're a data analyst, whether you're an engineer, it's important to be able to communicate, because if you cannot communicate, then you cannot properly collaborate with teams. And collaboration is one of the biggest deals for product managers. As a product manager, you're going to be collaborating across teams, cross-functional teams. You're collaborating with the engineering team, you're collaborating with the design team, you're collaborating with the marketing team, you're collaborating with the customer support team. So you can highlight these skills, highlight areas where you have worked with a team to deliver value, highlight your results over what you did, over action. Is that the right word? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if, for instance, you ran a campaign, don't say, I ran a campaign for so and so products and leave it at that. No, highlight the results of the campaign. I ran a campaign that yielded a 5% increase in product adoption. It's believable when you have numbers. So add numbers to your resume. Let it be believable. And don't lie on your resume, actually, please. Don't lie on your resume. Highlight what you have really done. Highlight the result of all the work that you are doing. Highlight your transferable skills, and you are well on your way to landing an interview invite. So please pay attention to your resume. Another thing to do while you are preparing to land your first product management role is to take up product courses. I've had a number of people reach out to me saying, oh, hello, I'm so and so and so, and I want to be a project manager. Please pay attention to what I'm saying. They say, I want to be a project manager. And then I go, hello, I am not a project manager. I am a product manager. And then they say, oh, sorry, yes, I want to be a product manager. That's a big red flag for me, because in the first place, you don't even know what you want to do. There is a lot of assumption to the layman. A lot of people confuse project management with product management. But if you are somebody who is looking to go into product management, you should not be making that rookie mistake, because it means that you're not even serious with what you want to do in the first place. You're not sure what it is you want to do. So it's important that you actually know what product management is. Take up courses, read articles online, join product conversations on Twitter, on LinkedIn, join product spaces. Like I said earlier, join product communities. Where they are talking about products, be there. On social media, don't use your Instagram to just watch skits and videos that make you laugh. Follow product people on your Instagram. Follow them on your Twitter. Follow them on your LinkedIn. Follow product communities. And also, let your personal brand on your social media platform, let it include your interest for product management. You can't tell me that you are interested in product management and you're not talking about it. So you want to land your first product management role and you're not saying anything on LinkedIn. Nobody knows that you want to land a product management role. The people around you have no idea. The people on your WhatsApp status, every day they see your updates when Chelsea and Liverpool are playing. Every day they see your updates when, I don't know if you're a K-drama fan, when so and so has happened in the K-drama you are watching. Every day they see your updates when two celebrities are fighting, but they don't see your status. You're not saying anything on your status about how you are interested in product management. You're not talking about the books you are reading. You're not talking about the articles you are reading. You're not talking about the courses you are reading. How exactly do you want people to take you serious? How? So you need to take this seriously. Let your personal brand on social media, let it involve your interest in product management. Add it to it. Let people know that you are a product enthusiast. Let people know. Also, another thing to do is to apply to product opportunities aggressively. Apply aggressively. See, I need you guys to always remember that when you are applying, it's a game of numbers. The more opportunities you apply to, the likelier or the likelihood that you are going to land an interview invite. If you apply to just one product opportunity, there's every possibility that you're not going to get an invite. But if you've applied to 100, at least 2 people will say, oh, let's talk to you. Let's have an interview. So apply aggressively. Don't tell yourself you are applying too much. Apply to every opportunity and don't wait until you are 100% qualified to apply for a role. There is a saying that if you feel you are 100% qualified for a role, it means that you are overqualified for that role and you should not be taking it. So even if you feel 50% qualified, apply. Apply. And then you must also know that interviews are a great way to learn. So even if you do not get the job, you learn from interviews. You learn how to better answer questions. You learn how to better process your thoughts and how to better communicate your thoughts. So apply as aggressively as you can. Personally, what I do whenever I am in my application season, because there are times when I'm not applying, but there are times when I'm applying, I have a tracker. I have a Notion page where I track all my applications. I write the name of the organization, I write the role I am applying for, I write where I applied or where I found the application. If it was on LinkedIn or Twitter, I write it there. I find somebody in the organization who can be like a contact person or an HR person. I put the person's name there, and then I put a status and say applied. There's another status that says, rejection. There's another status that says interview invite received. Do you get? So keep track of all of these things. You have to be intentional. Apply, be as aggressive while you're applying, and track your applications. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
All right. So fun fact, I applied to 26 organizations before I landed my second product role. So my first, when I was applying to get my first product role, I had not started to track then. But by the time I was applying to my second role, I had created my Notion tracker and I started to track. So I had applied to 26 organizations before I landed my second product role. And for my third product role, which is the current one, I had applied to 52 organizations before I landed it. Some other persons, the margin is higher. Some people take 100, some people take 1,000. Some people, for some people, is not a lot. But I want you to understand that sometimes it's not a function of whether you're qualified or not. Some of these organizations have like an application tracking system where there's a system in place that just scans through your resume, and if certain things are not there, they immediately like discard it. So as a result, you will not even get a leg in for an interview. But don't beat yourself up for it if you are getting rejections. Everybody gets rejections. Rejection no dey kill. When they reject you today, you apply tomorrow. In fact, they reject you now, you apply again. So please apply aggressively and track your applications. Not finally, this is like the second to the last slide, or your third to the last slide. Important things to keep in mind for your product management interviews. So let's assume that finally you have landed an interview invite. What are some of the things to keep in mind? Number one, research the company and the product. Like I said, I have sat in interviews and I have seen candidates come into interview with zero knowledge about what the company or the product does. And I can tell you that is one of the most irritating things for any recruiter, because it's a waste of my time if you do not know what my company does or what my product does. So before you go into any interview, please research the company. Please research the product. If they have an application, download the application and actually use it. Create an account, log in, sign up, use the application. Use the application, and don't just use the application. Note down your observations. Note your observations. Get a pen, get a paper or a book or something. Note down your observations. Note down the things that they do well, the things you like about their product, and note down areas you think they can also improve. All of this just means that you're intentional and that you would have more talking points when you get into the interview. Remember that interviews are conversations. So if you do not have the basic knowledge or adequate knowledge about the product or about the company, what do you want to go and talk about? What do you want to talk about? So research the company, research the product, make sure you note down your observations about the product, and also research some of their competitors. Do a mini comparative analysis. If they're in the fintech space, Look for other companies in the fintech space who do similar things and do a comparison. And when you get to your interview, you can tell them, oh, I also went through so and so who is a competitor, and this is what I found out about them. This is what I found out about them. This is what I think they are doing well, which I think you guys can adopt. There is no recruiter or there is no interviewer who would not be happy to hear that. So please, also practice with PM interview questions. So if you go on Google, there are tons of PM interview questions. Go on Google and find them. Find them and practice with them. Practice with them. Also, this is something I personally do. Have a script-like guide for staple questions such as introduce yourself, what is your favorite product and why. Have a script-like guide. So I have a document where for every interview I'm going to, I have a document where I have written out staple questions are questions that I feel like are always recurring in interviews. So I have the question and then I have the answer. So I have typed out the answer. I know the answer by heart, but I have a script in front of me. So that way I am less, what's the word? I'm less agitated. I am more at ease. I would sound a little more put together. Do you get? Unlike when I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what so and so is. Give yourself prompts. It's more like, you know, the way what's the word? The way newscasters have like teleprompters. So basically that's just it. Create a script-like guide for yourself. For staple questions, one of the staple questions I am always asked in every interview I've gone to is, what's your favorite product and why? They will always ask you, what is your favorite product? Why is it your favorite product? You must have an answer. You must have an intelligent answer. Okay? Also, do a mock interview with a friend or a colleague. This will help to boost your confidence. Don't just go into an interview unprepared. Do a mock interview. Tell your friend or your colleague or your sibling or maybe your dad or your mom, tell them to ask you questions. Give them a script and say, okay, mommy, so and so, let's pretend that we're in an interview. Let them ask you questions and answer as best as you can. It will help to boost your confidence. It will help you to remember stuff, because sometimes some of the things you're going to ask you are stuff that maybe were asked in your mock interview, and then you can recall what you said in that interview. So practice. Stand in front of your mirror if there's nobody around you. Stand in front of your mirror and pretend that your mirror is the interviewer. Just do your best to ensure that you are confident enough for every interview that you are going for. Also, when you're speaking, use product language. Now, for you to be able to use product language, it means that you must have the basic knowledge of product. You're a product manager or you're a product enthusiast and you don't know what an MVP is. You don't know what a prototype is. You don't know what wireframing is. You don't know what design thinking is. You don't know what Scrum is. What exactly are you product managing? So make sure, like I said earlier, make sure you are reading product books. Make sure you are reading product articles. Make sure you are a part of product conversations. That way, you have the right words to use in the interview. You'll be able to use proper product language when you're answering questions. And when you're answering questions, make sure that your answers are customer focused. In product management, the customer is the focus of everything that we do. So make sure that your answers are customer focused. You are empathetic. You have to empathize with your customers. That's one of the biggest deals in product management. You have to think like your customer. You have to empathize with your customer. You have to see from your customer's perspective. So your answers should be customer focused, because no organization wants to hire somebody who has no regard for customers. If you do not have regard for customers, it means you do not have regard for the business, because the business will not make money. If my customers are not pleased because I have no regard for them, I will not make money because they will go elsewhere. So make sure your answers are customer focused. Also, finally, treat the interview like a conversation. Like I said earlier, it's a conversation. It is a conversation. So calm down. Tell yourself that you are basically just conversing with a friend. It's not an exam. It is a conversation. Process your thoughts before you speak them out. Process your thoughts. It's a conversation. You can steer the conversation in whatever direction you want. Process your thoughts. Be careful before you say something. If you say something you feel you should not have said, you have the room and the right to say, oh, I take that back. This is what I meant to say. Ask your interviewer questions. Don't let them be the only one asking you questions. Ask them questions as well. If they give you answers that require assumptions, carry them along while you are answering. Do you get? Look at me saying, do you get, like I'm talking to a friend. Anyways, so please treat it like a conversation. Okay? So finally, this is the final slide and then we are done. Finally, keep in mind that luck plays a huge role in a number of things in life, and that's the honest truth. We can work hard, we can strive to, we can strive to do whatever it is that we want to do, but luck plays a very important role, a huge role in a number of things that we do in life. As a result, some things might be out of your control. So pray to whatever God it is that you serve. Pray to the God that you serve. As you interview, as you look for product roles, pray that you find luck, pray that you find favor while you're also doing your best. Okay? So I think that with that, we have come to the end of this session. So if you have any questions, please
All right.
time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you guys. Let's bring up the emojis, the clapping emojis. Yes, thanks. Wow, thank you so much, Temitope. That was